And we are finally live. Yay!
As we are crushed by the online throng of people. Yes, Facebook, I know I have an event. I'm doing it right now. Thank you for helping.
It's been so long since I've done one of these that I forgot that I have it set up so when I go live, a comment automatically posts saying that if they have questions to leave them in the bottom. So I had already rewritten one.
I like how I immediately went live and Leah hid.
Hello, Willow. Hi, Bethany. Yay. Well, we'll give it a couple minutes for people to be popping in.
Cool. Hello.
Hey, Brad. No, we can't hear you, Brad. The only people we'll be able to hear are me, Jason, and possibly Leah at some point. I think we might hear you.
Let's see about that.
Yay! We were having some technical difficulties a minute ago, but yay!
Damn it.
So let's go ahead and get started. If anyone else jumps in, they can either start from the beginning and then watch it and just be a little behind. Facebook usually also records it, so people who do miss will still be able to catch any of this information. So to begin, I'm Brian Palmer. I'm Executive Director at Ethereal Jest Arts Council. Thank you for attending this Meet the Director with Jason Speicher, who is our director, for our next and final show of this season, Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood. And that is true, Willow. Added, is it a live stream without technical difficulties? No, it is. I'm so glad that other people who have gone before us have set the standard that technical difficulties are to be expected. It makes our lives easier. So I will now let Jason and Leah introduce themselves before we move further into the discussion. Jason, if you...
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jason Speicher. I've been doing theater in Columbus for the last 25 years, if you haven't come across me until now. I hate talking about myself because I'm really bad at it. I've been directing since about the last 20 of those years. I've directed shows for Raconteur Theater Company and Bread and Circus when they were around. I've directed shows for um, uh, some from Mad Lab, and I've assisted directed shows at OSU Theater, and I have been a flight director for in Central Ohio for the last longer than that, 30 years. I mostly work with various theater companies and high schools across the Central Ohio area, and I've also gone to Italy with it. Uh, yeah, I tend to. What drew me to this show is because I like the tale of Robin Hood. I specifically like this one because it's a fun version of it, and yeah, that's really kind of where I'm coming from right now. Leah.
Okay.
Fantastic. And then Leah, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, I'm Leah Kessler. I'll be the stage manager for this production. I've been working with Jason for, goodness, 7, 8 years, something like that, in the stage manager capacity. Still kind of coming out of the pre-COVID scene. I haven't done a ton of stage managing since then. So we're stepping back into an old role that right now still fits like a glove.
And myself. Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay, so can you also tell us who else is on your creative team for this production?
Yeah. Sorry, let me get through all, so I get names correct. Let me go look them up real quick because I will get tons of names wrong if I don't. Alrighty. So, first off, for my set designer, where are you guys? There's my face again. Sorry, I had to look away, and that's all it takes. For my set designer, who unfortunately was not able to attend, I tried to reach out to him. His name is Travis Williams. I worked with Travis when we were together at OSU. He has since gone and returned to Columbus, getting with his MFA in set design from Kent State. He's currently teaching over at Columbus State, and he's done a lot of work with Tipping Point Theater Company as well as Columbus State Theater. So I'm really excited to work with him again. He's extremely imaginative set designer, which makes it great for me. My costume designer is my wife, Carolyn Speicher. She's been costuming my shows for as long as I've been a director, really. She is creative, and she usually knows exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to costuming. And she's really pleasant to work with the actors, and she really knows how to make them look good on stage. And let's see here. My lighting designer is new to me because I had Travis recommended him to me because my original lighting designer had to step out, which is fully understandable. I'm trying to remember find him on my phone. He has also worked with Travis as an MFA at Kent State. He is the only one of my team who's currently not local, but he is willing. He is in Ohio, so he's going to travel to come down and work on the show as well. But he's excited to work with him. He is. I've seen some of his looks really dynamic and interesting, and with my content, which I will get to later. Obviously, it's gonna look really kind of cool. I have I can't remember the name of my props designer because they work with Brian for the most part. This person is new to me as well, but they're very excited to be part of the show. And I have not confirmed yet a sound designer as of yet. So that's where I'm at right now with my design team.
Okay. Yeah, and our staff prop designer, her name is Jamie, and yes, she is exceedingly excited to be doing the props for this show. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason, in your words, what is this show about? I mean, obviously we know that it's to do with Robin Hood, but what makes this version different from any other version of Robin Hood that it seems like everybody wants to be working on here lately?
Well, I think it's because it wants to be working with me, Brian, and not the show, but that's my ego. This Robin Hood, it's extremely fun. Though it's definitely lives in the world of what Robin Hood, the story we all are very familiar with, is, but it has a much more jovial nature to it. There's a lot more for more of the actors to be able to kind of play archetypes and not just play characters. They get to play a large swapping different views of what this character can be. And for me, Robin Hood's always a story that we're so familiar with that it's nice to see different takes on the characters and the show itself. That's what really drew me to the show, and what I really like about how this is and how strong some of the characters are in it.
Very cool. Let's see. Okay, so with this version of the show, what is your concept for? Because I know that this is a play that a number of high schools have done. One's actually getting ready to do it in April. So people might be familiar with this take on the story. What is going to make your version of this particular play a little different or new or fresher than what we might have seen elsewhere?
Excellent. This is what's got me really excited, because I decided to make it a little harder for myself and challenge my design team and my actors, because I'm going to take this from the idea of it's a somewhat of a found or rehearsed play. So there'll be a section of I'm going to write a prologue, because the playwright didn't do enough for us, because I'm going to write more. And in this prologue, for the first 10 minutes of the play, we're going to build the play around the audience. So we're going to come in as actors and create the world in front of them. So it's also going to be live in the world where it's going to be suggestive stuff. It's not going to be concrete set pieces, concrete costumes. There'll be suggestions of what they are. But the idea is what we find in the space is what the actors use. And yes, we'll build a set that has everything they need for the play, but to the audience, it'll look like they've stepped into a secret, audience viewed rehearsal process for the first 10 minutes. And then the play will begin they'll realize they've watched the play become live in front of them. That prologue will also have actors engaging with the audience, because that's a big thing, a big philosophy for me as a director. I believe that the audience is the tangible element of the show that doesn't realize that they're part of the show until they're there. So they'll be engaging with the audience not only in the prologue, but also throughout the play. We'll find ways to make them feel part of the play itself. So that's kind of where my vision is going.
That sounds very interesting. I definitely haven't seen this production done that way. And I don't think I've seen a number of productions do something like that. So I personally am excited to see what the final product is going to end up looking like.
Me too!
Well, that's one of the fun parts about live theater too, is the playing, experimenting, building, trying something new. And I know that with Ethereal Jest, that's one of the things that we're trying to do is to bring something new, a new take, a new twist on stuff that you might have seen elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's why I really liked you guys doing this show and me like latching onto it is because once again, as you said, Robin Hood is a story we're very familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Even I mean, I don't know anybody who hasn't seen the Disney version of Robin Hood ever. But once again, that shows my age. But also, but it's a fairly common story. So it's for me as a director, it's a way to present that in a new and a fresh way for an audience to help engage with better.
So with this take, we know the story about fighting from the underdog and defending and taking care of those who can't to do so for themselves. With this production, what is the message of the production? What is the theme that the playwright is trying to convey to the audience?
I think for me, especially with this version, is this version of Robin Hood for me sings to the idea that we can all be a Robin Hood. We can all be someone who does these things, and it doesn't have to be as epic as the story tells. It can be the small things in that we do to help each other out. And the idea is like the idea is we can all be these people. These characters are real in the fact that like I mean, historically there was a person named Robin of Locksley. They actually did some of the things they talk about in the play, but it's also the idea is that we all can embody these values these characters choose to portray in the play in real life, and we can. And my goal and my hope, and I believe the play right too, is when we walk out of the theater, we feel just a little more inspired to be the people we saw on stage.
I like that. Definitely. Okay, so now that we know a little more about the show and what to expect from an audience perspective, if someone is wanting to be a part of the show, if they're looking at auditioning for the production, when are the auditions and what should they expect in the audition room?
Well, the auditions are the 23rd and 24th of this month, which is a Saturday and Sunday. I believe Saturday is in the afternoon and Sunday is in like the early evening time frame. I'll let Brian correct me on the times if I am wrong. As for the rehearsal, the audition space as you come in, you should expect to be judged by me critically because I am an evil person. No, that's not it. We're gonna give you. I like cold readings because I really want your spontaneous connect of with the characters you read. So we'll give you sides. You'll take some time to read them over, and when you think you're ready, we'll bring you up. We'll either put you with some other people, or Leo will read the other part of the side, and you'll just go from there. I highly tell people to make huge choices, even if they're not ones that I'm going to use in the show. If I can direct a huge choice, if you just so be big, be bold, be stupid, it's fine. I don't mind. I've embarrassed myself so many more times in life. It's okay. You can do it one more time in the audition room. I won't mind. If you as an actor chooses to bring a monologue to the show, to the auditions, I will happily listen to it. It's perfectly fine. I'm not going to tell you not to do a monologue for me. That's perfect. If you feel more comfortable, do that. But you'll also be asked to do a side. I want to hear not just your ability to memorize a monologue and emote from something you're familiar with, but to give you something you're not as familiar with and see where you go with it. And that's really how auditions are going to go. And then we'll have fun. Ultimately, auditions are. I don't know of you as an actor out there in Radioland, but auditions are super stressful for me. So I try to make them as easy as possible. And I'm the director. So I can't even imagine how more stressful as an actor it is for you. Especially if you guys don't know me. I'm look more intimidating than I really am. But I want you guys to feel comfortable, have fun, and uh, come out of the audition thinking that you did a great job. That's ultimately what I want you to do.
Sounds great. Are you intending to have all of the auditioners all in the room at the same time or in small groups?
I prefer small groups, so because once again, it's like if I feel like you have to audition in front of everybody who's auditioning, that is an actor. I'm like, you watch some actor do a really great job with the same side you're reading, and you're like, oh, I'm never going to get cast because he did such a great job. So I'll do small groups and and then we'll go from there. And I'll mix up the groups hopefully. So we'll actually have all people audition with a few different people, so you feel you can have a break at different roles or different times at the same side.
Okay. So Bethany is asking which roles are available.
All of them. All of the roles are available. You can't have director. It's my role. You can't have stage manager. It's Leah's role. I've already assigned those. But there
you can have my role.
I've listed, I believe it was 9 different characters from the play that are available. There are some other smaller roles that I'm hoping to cast, to double cast with the cast I have. But if I feel that I can't, that's not going to be a possible thing, I will cast those separately as well. As for, I see what Bethany asked for specific characters. Well, there's Robin Hood, Marion, Prince John, the Sheriff of Nottingham, Little John, Alan Adale, Will Scarlet, Friar Tuck, a townsperson, and I believe that's all the major roles. There's for many of the roles they're not gendered specifically, so don't feel you have to, like, if you're a woman who really wants to be like Little John, by all means audition for a Little John. I have nothing against that. I have nothing in my brain pan says that has to be a thing. There's some characters that I am looking for female or male presenting actors, but I'll come with that when we go to auditions. But yeah, there you go. Ages, like, geez. I'm trying to keep it between, like, there's a couple characters that are in there, like, I would like Friar Tuck to be within his 40s. I'm looking for most of the actors between, like, 18 to 35 for most of the main characters. Some a little older, but mostly I don't really have. And I have one character who, a lady in waiting. There's a lady in waiting that I was looking to be more teens to 20s.
And the nice thing about this show is, depending on how many people we get, there is the option to also have some non-speaking background roles as well. So if you know someone who's interested in starting performing and may not have a whole lot of experience, this might be a good way for them to start and be able to be on stage, learn the rehearsal process, how to take direction without having being bogged down by having to memorize an entire script full of lines.
And also with shows I've worked with at Mad Lab, I've had a lot of experience with a lot of actors who this is their first time ever being on stage. I do not, like, you're like, if you bring a resume to me and you show me what you've done, and I'll be like, oh, that's great. But that doesn't mean that someone who's only done like a high school production means that they're going to be outclassed. It's if you make some great choices in auditioning with me, I'll cast you where I think you're going to be best. And it's up to you then to decide if you think you're up to doing it. Like, if you've only done one show and you give me a great Robin Hood, you'll get cast as Robin Hood. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, then you can talk to me about like where you see yourself. But I want you to feel like you guys are empowered to make the choices.
Yeah. So, what will callbacks be like, and are they guaranteed to happen, or are they just a possibility?
Well, to be honest, I've actually never had the need to do an all callback, but most of the time it's because I get exactly as many as actor auditions as I need to put into the show. Um, so if I tend to do callbacks, what we'll do is I'll have you guys come in, um, possibly, and we'll have you read new sides, and we might do a little improv stuff to kind of get you guys see how you go. And it's good. Once again, callbacks are even sometimes even more stressful because now you know exactly who you're going. You know there's someone else you're going against, not just a big group of people. So I try to make those as easy as possible. I'm hoping that, like, once again, uh, I can cast a show and we won't have to worry about callbacks. But once again, I also hope that I get so many actors. I really have to think about who I'm going to cast, and I'm going to need to see people another time. By all means, like, and once again, as a lot of people think, like, if they don't get a callback, they're not going to be cast. That's not true either. You might just not be if you say you're looking for one role and but you're up for anything. If you don't get called back for the role you're looking for, it does not mean you won't be cast in the show. That just means, like, I'm looking for something. I saw you somewhere else that's going to be perfect. So always think about that. Just because you're not called back doesn't mean that you're not cast in the show.
Yes, and I do want to reiterate exactly what Jason said. Just because you may not receive a callback doesn't mean you're not cast. We do, and I also want to stress, we do contact everyone with a final casting decision. You may not get a callback notification, but you will get a final casting decision, whether or not you're in the show, and if you are, which roles you're being offered. We also do those by email, so that way you have the chance to consider what you're being offered and I think we usually give like about 24 hours for you to think about it before you are required to respond, so we can prepare the public announcements of the cast. Let's see. Great question or question from Bethany. Just because just because you receive a callback doesn't necessarily mean I cannot talk today. It doesn't mean that you're automatically or already cast in the show. It just means that we need to see you opposite someone else to get a little more insight into the way that you're playing a specific role. Okay. What will the rehearsal schedule be like?
Rehearsal schedules are going to be, we start on the 1st of April. They'll be Monday through Thursday, 6:30 to 9:30. And then, and Brian, we have a space, right? I don't remember exactly where that.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Ethereal Jess, we have a studio space over off Leonard Avenue. It's at Millworks Art Studios. And that's where all the rehearsals will be.
Okay. So they'll be there. I am a huge proponent as a director of not wasting my actors' time. So if I'm not working on a scene you're in, you're not going to be called. You'll have the night off. You're more than welcome to come to rehearsals and hang out, but that's entirely up to you. And if you do decide to do that, we ask you just not to impede the rehearsal process by sitting quietly and watching. You're welcome to go off and work on your lines, because I know some actors like to come to rehearsal and work on lines because it's a time that they're dedicated to do that, and they don't have to like show up and hang out. We'll go pretty steadily. When we get into Tech Week, we load in on the 11th in the Shed Theater, and after that, we're pretty much rehearsing until we open. And at that point, like, I am hoping by that point, you guys as the actors will have been going so well and being so awesome that I can really focus on the technical elements of the show. and weave them together and have minimal notes for you guys. I tend to like to do notes at the end of rehearsal as quickly as possible. I try to give myself at least 10 minutes to give them so you're not running over. If at all times we rehearse up to the point where we're supposed to be over, I will email them. I will get them put together with Leah, and Leah will email them out to you the next day. So you'll have them and you can have a chance to look over them and make sure everything is going according to plan. Performance dates, Bethany, I believe 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th of May. And then the following weekend, which I'll have to look at my calendar to make sure I get this right. Calendar. And the 24th, 25th, and 26th of May.
And the 16th is a preview performance, so it's technically the final dress rehearsal, but there will be a small audience in there, so that way you get a chance to do that final run with a small audience before we do the official opening on the 17th.
So you'll have those are the official performance dates. I like to run rehearsals as openly as possible. I'm a hugely collaborative director, so if you as an actor come up to me and say, "Jason, I want to try something," 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say, "Go right ahead and do it. Let's see what you got." And if I like it, I'll just say, "Let's just do that. That's great. I love it. It's hilarious," or "It's perfect." If I'm not sure where you're trying to go, we'll talk. We'll have a discussion about what you're trying to do and see if I can find a way to make it look more effective on stage. But once again, as I like to use this as I'm a fight director. I use this idea is as a director, I'm like a shotgun. My perspective on the show covers everything that goes on. So what you as actors are like single shots. So you have one thing you're doing as a character. So I leave it to you as an actor to really hone in on what your character wants to do in the scenes, and and I help shape that into the rest of the show. So if you come up to me and ask the question like, "What do you think my character is going to do at this point?" My answer is going to be, "Well, what do you think your character is going to do?" Because you know more about your character than I do. I can give you an idea of what I think your character should do at this point because I'm the director. But ultimately, if that's not what you think your character should do, then we should have a conversation about what could happen. Because I have learned over my years as a director, I am not infallible, and I'm not that much of a genius. So I will readily admit that sometimes my ideas are not the best ideas out there, and there are better ways to do it. And sometimes I'll let my actors tell me that they're better ideas. I have not listened to the Stage Combat podcast. How do I make sure their actors feel safe and heard? Every actor has I let everyone know that my sole job as a director and a fight person is to make sure you're safe. If you don't feel safe, tell me. If you don't feel safe telling me, tell Leah. That's ultimately where if you don't feel safe telling either one of us, tell Brian. He's there to also help. And once again, it's like I want you to hear. Hi, I give you the right to come up to me and say, "I don't think this is what I would do." And I go, "Okay, let's find out what it is." If you're like someone, I've done stage combat with people who I don't like to be touched, which is almost impossible to do with stage combat. But we have found a way to make it work. That's my job, is to make them feel safe, and actors feel safe and heard and comfortable in the space, because that's what rehearsal is. It was a safe space to try new things. If you don't feel safe, you can't try new things, and then we don't really get to create what we want. We're just reciting lines in front of a bunch of people and making motions. We don't get to act. You don't get to act, and I don't get to create a great show. I have been doing stage combat for over 30 years. I'm there's nothing more important than keeping my actors safe and making sure they feel safe enough to come to me that there's something going wrong with either themselves or an actor. If you're having it, if you're not feel safe with another actor, I do ask you to bring it to my attention so I can help deal with that, not just you yelling at another actor because it doesn't help the situation. I hope that
Yeah, and
answers the question.
yeah, building on that question as well, outside of just with stage combat and performing, feeling safe and heard, we also, as an organization, utilize the conflict resolution path that it can be found in the Chicago Theater Standards, and we go over this during the first rehearsal as well. It's a step-by-step process that if you're having an issue with another individual, the different levels and different steps that you go through to make sure that it is handled and taken care of. And the cast of every show also selects what we call a company deputy, which is a member of the cast that everyone agrees that they feel comfortable going to. If they don't feel comfortable going to Jason or to Leah or to myself or to the board rep, that there's this member of the cast that's set aside that they can report things to as well. So, and anyone out there who has any more ideas of ways that we can be more proactive and help to secure a safe environment for our performers and participants, I am happy to hear that. Like Jason said, I definitely want to make sure that this is a very safe, warm, comforting, welcoming space to be in. Because if you don't feel that way, then why would you come here? And I want everyone to come here. And that's what I'm working on. So I have a question for Leah, actually. As the stage manager, what can the potential cast expect from you as stage manager? And what is your view of stage managing with a production?
Did she freeze?
I'm wondering, she might have.
Leah? I think she froze.
Okay, I must have scared her computer with the question. If she,
she just texted me. Her computer just crashed right that second.
Oh, you cannot script things like this. Okay, on that note, did you have any other items related to the production or auditions that you would like to talk about today, Jason?
Just a second.
Okay.
I'm just texting Leah real quick to say, try to get back as soon as you can. There's no rush if you can. With the related to the auditions and auditions, I might do a little bit of like take some of the small groups as they come in, and we'll do a little game, like improv game, just to see how people like to almost like a warm up. The idea to get you guys feeling a little more comfortable, and also since part of the beginning part of the show is going to be somewhat improvisational. I want actors who sometimes aren't used to that idea to feel a little more comfortable. I've been telling people, for those of us who are familiar with the history of theater, think about the Lotsies that were built into Commedia dell'arte shows, and that's kind of where I'm going with this idea. So there'll be like stuff going on that'll help engage with the audience, but also it's not going to be entirely scripted, as in you're going to have lines of dialogue. Mm-hmm. It'll be like you're going to talk to someone on this in a seat, and you're going to go off how they answer. So, but I want to gauge who feels comfortable doing that. Not to say that if you're totally uncomfortable with that, you won't get cast. Mm-hmm. But I'll make it aware that that's somewhere where I don't want to cast you. I don't want to cast you in a role that's going to do that, because I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, I've got to do something I'm really scared, really not comfortable with, and you turn into Leah's computer and you crash on my stage. But the but as auditions go, I mean, as rehearsals, the biggest part of like that is just we're gonna have fun. I'm looking at my technical stuff. This is where my director brain has hiccups sometimes because I am not a technical person sometimes, but I'm looking for like to see how things build. And I'm curious to see how that goes. And I'm really looking forward to like Travis's ideas. I'm looking forward to our first production meeting when we're able to sit down and really talk about where we're going and what his ideas are, and like what my lights will look like and everything. So this is like I'm at the part of my like right before auditions where I'm like as a director and like, okay, I have all these ideas. How do I get them all to where are the ones I'm going to have to like? Okay, I can't do this for this show, but what can I do for this show, or what's going to be feasible, or what's just like not going to work, and we'll see. And that's where my technicians get to tell me like, hey, your idea is great, but we need to do something different, or because we just not feasible. And that's where the collaboration where I get to use as a director with my technical staff. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody who comes out and really kind of like building the show. I'm at the point now where if it wasn't for the fact that I had she's back. I've delayed long enough to get her to answer a question. Your mic's gone, darling. See that face from Leah's. I get that face a lot. So yeah, that's ooh.
How do you feel about schedule conflict?
Oh my God. If you miss a rehearsal, you're fired.
Okay.
No, I totally understand. It's like as Ryan has come to find out, I have had some health issues over the last few months that have made my response to emails not as speedy as I would normally like as a human being. So I fully understand that life happens. Like if you're sick, don't come to rehearsal. I don't want to be sick. As much as I like to not do anything, being sick is doing more than I want to do for not doing anything. If like I don't know, you can't like you're I don't know, let's say your mom went to the hospital and I have to go to the hospital. Okay, the show will survive if you miss. If you have to miss multiple days rehearsals in a row, okay, just let me know when you can come back. I'm not like I am never someone to say like, oh my God, no, I need you to come and suffer for my art because that's the most important thing out there. No, by all means, it's like if we start having multiple like absences, I might have a conversation because I'm especially the closer we get to Tech Week because I'm concerned about getting the show up. But that's a conversation that's going to happen with myself and Brian together with you or whoever, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Because I don't want you to feel like because I know as if I have been sick as an actor for a couple of days, and I felt like I was dragging the show down because I wasn't there to do my part. And I know as an actor, you get to a point when your scene partners aren't there, it's hard to do the scene because you're relying on their energy to keep you going in the scene. So I fully understand like that, but I want to make sure everyone knows that like if you're sick, okay, it happens. Let me know. Just if you need to tell us, I only ask that you if you can't if you get a hold of me, great. But more importantly, get a hold of Leah. Make sure she knows you're not going to be there. If you don't get a hold of me, if you got a hold of Leah, that's cool because Leah will get a hold of me. She is really good at that when she needs to be. Yeah, she is. But also, like, so yeah, it's I I'm I it's like I've been sick. I mean, I currently I am dealing with Bell's palsy and tendonitis in my left shoulder, so I'm a mess. Apparently, when you turn 49, the warranty in your body goes out. At least it did for me. So yeah, if you're sick, be sick. If you got like if you at auditions know I'm going to miss these days, please let us know so I can work around that because especially if it's early on and I could schedule rehearsals where you're not wouldn't even be called and I can make that happen. But the longer if it springs up in the middle when we're all working together, we get to hear Leah read lines, which is my
I will
favorite.
say, I am a huge advocate of do not hide any of your conflicts on your audition form. Even on ours, we give you the option to indicate what are solid conflicts and what are potential conflicts, and just fill out as many of those as you think you might have. Because I would rather know about all of them up front, and then choose to work with you, and then have some of them fall off than for you to not tell us about them, choose to work with you, and then have a ton of conflicts hit us out of nowhere that we're not prepared for. I will say, as a director myself, there have been multiple times that I have had actors that have come in and have had conflict even on a performance where I wanted to work with them so bad I didn't care. And I just made sure to also cast an understudy. So I had someone right off the bat ready to take over that role during a performance. And the show I did last summer, I had, I think, 3 or 4 actors who had understudies because they had conflicts, but they were who I wanted to work with. So I was willing to do what it took to make it work. Mm-hmm. And all of them were up front right at auditions with those conflicts. So I could make that decision well informed. So again, just make sure that you give Jason and Leah all the information that you have available to you, so that way they can make the best decision for everyone involved.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, if something comes up in the rehearsal process, just let us know as soon as possible.
Yes, definitely. Any other questions from anyone in the audience?
Can Leah talk, or she?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Answer the question. Yay!
I do and an E, but I would love if we could just let this. That would be ideal. Okay, you said you had a question for me.
Yes. If you could talk a little bit about what your view of as a stage manager is, and what the actors can expect from you as a stage manager throughout the production.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see the job of a stage manager as whatever the production needs to move in the most holistically good way. And that can mean good for the show, but in particular, it means good for the work environment. So making sure that the rehearsal space feels comfortable, is ready to go, making sure that everybody gets what they need for the production to move forward. So it is, of course, at the service of the production and the performances in the end, but the reality is that the bare bones of that, the structure of that falls into making sure that the process itself feels smooth. So that means a lot of communication. Talk to the production team as to how frequently they're going to want things like rehearsal reports and production reports, but also trying to gauge what kind of communication the actors want. So you'll get a call from me. How much detail do you want within that call? I normally have like as detailed as I can get up front, but if I get feedback saying, oh, that's really dense and that's not working for us, adjusting to whatever the needs of the show are. And it's truly just a philosophy of how can I be the cog that helps make the rest of this machine work as fluidly and as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, fantastic. Bethany has also asked, how physically demanding are the roles?
The roles, obviously there is a fight with Robin Hood and the sheriff, but the roles can be as physically demanding as you choose them to be as an actor. I'm not going to make anyone do something they don't feel comfortable doing. Um, I want you to feel like, so if you, if my Robin comes in and says like, I don't think I'm up to doing a sword fight, I'll make it work. We'll figure it out. But I want you to, you're not, I'm never going to make you feel something that you don't feel you have the ability to do. We're not doing like, there's no one swinging from ropes. No one has to do cartwheels on the stage. I mean, if I get someone who can, I'll let them do it, but I'm not going to make anybody do it. And I don't have anything planned in my mind to make that. It's like, until I have actors, I don't plan out choreography and blocking, because part of the audition process is going to be me watching you move, and from there I can assess what you're going to be comfortable. I can help assess in my mind what I feel you're going to be comfortable doing. I don't want to make someone do something and be like, I don't feel comfortable doing that, because if you don't feel comfortable and you do it anyways, it's just not going to look good to the audience. The audience will instantaneously tell you're not comfortable. So that's it. That's how physically demanding they are. As physically demanding as you want them to be. This is a choose your own adventure activity.
Awesome. Okay. Well, if anyone has any other questions after this is over, you can feel free to drop a comment on this event, or you can message Ethereal Just directly, and we can either answer the question for you or get the answer from Jason or Leah to you as quickly as we can. Again, auditions are the 23rd and 24th. The audition information and application should go live this weekend. We will also be, date to be determined, doing an audition seminar, what we call it around here. It's basically just a chance to come and practice an audition outside of the pressure of an actual audition. So we get some people together, we do some practice cold reads. If Jason is available and Leah are available, they're welcome to attend, but not required. It's more just a low stakes, low key place to get some feedback on your auditions before you do the real thing. It's a great way for people who have never auditioned before to kind of go on with the training wheels first before going in to do the real thing. So be looking for that information on our website and on our Facebook page as well. Outside of that, if you're looking for something to do this weekend or next weekend, our current show, Nine Girls, is running at the Shed, on the Shed stage at the Columbus Performing Arts Center. Information is, again, on our Facebook page and on our website. Curtain is 8 o'clock tonight, 2 o'clock tomorrow, and then next weekend, 8 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sunday. Otherwise, I hope to see all of you guys out at auditions, and have a great, wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, guys. I hope to see you there.